and welcome to Reading with Ms. Momo. I'm so glad that you could join us today. In the month of December, I'm reading 2 books a week, a fun book and then a book about the birth of Christ. Today I'm going to have a fun book, and you might have heard last year I read this one it was about Alabama. This year it's about Mississippi. In case you want to look at books that I've read through the year, if you would click on the playlist that's at the top of my YouTube video, then you can see all of the many books that I've read and choose different ones. I started reading them last year at this time, so I have a lot. Now, I hope that you enjoy this book and that you know some of the places that it's going to talk about. Santa is Coming to Mississippi, written by Steve Smallman, illustrated by Robert Dunn and Jerry Pike. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Mississippi been good this year? Well, mostly, the little old elf, as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that children of Mississippi had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Look at all those letters that children have written them. Have you written your letter to Santa yet? If not, you better get it written. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big, and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it into Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack into one little sleigh, even they didn't know, but somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Oh no, a reindeer's missing. Missing? What reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's the first flight tonight. I've called him, but... Just then, a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. But the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa knave and tapped it in the coordinates for Mississippi. This will guide us to Mississippi in no time. Crunch, 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 crunch. He's so busy crunching that carrot, he didn't hear a thing. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these presents delivered to the Magnolia State. And the Magnolia State is Mississippi, that's right. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, headed south across the Arctic Ocean. On they flew to the crisp, wintry air, crossing over Canada. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying above Dakotas and on over to Missouri, and the youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. And there they go. They're headed our way to Mississippi. I hope they have a good trip. They were just nearing Woodall Mountain when suddenly they ran into thick fog. Mist swirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said the Santa knave, is a bossy lady's voice. Keep left at the next star. But ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this fog. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Then through the foggy blanket, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding dong! He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Wonder who it was with the red nose. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. There was a sound again like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around and looked at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with the little box with the button on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off toward the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. "Whoa!" cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. "What's going on?" Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing sound. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must be the Cathedral of St. Peter the Apostle in Jackson. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the fog. "You have arrived," said the Santa knave unhelpfully. Finally, when the fog had lifted, Santa discovered exactly where they were, stuck right at the very top of the Christmas tree near the old Capitol Museum. And there they are stuck. "Everybody pull!" The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the Christmas tree, and Santa steered them safely above the Mississippi State Capitol, turned east on the Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium, flew over the Children's Museum, and down into LaFleur Bluff State Park. So they're flying around in Jackson and getting ready to deliver. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the packages had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the presents in order again. "All right," said Santa. "Thanks for this young reindeer. I know where we are now. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Mississippi, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could, which is pretty fast for a chubby old fella. There was a big chimney in Gulfport, small chimneys in Oxford. He squeezed down the chimney in Vicksburg and plummeted down a fat chimney in South Haven. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children of Mississippi were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry, too. That carrot did not do much for him. He was still hungry. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for packages for every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas tree and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Mississippi had left out a plate of cookies, a small glass of milk, and a big crunchy carrot. Santa took a bite out of each cookie, tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrot into his sack. Now, who do you think the carrot's for? From Madison to Meridian, from Biloxi to Brandon, from Hattiesburg to Hernando, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Mississippi. Santa delivered presents to Andrew, Allison, Anna, Arabelle, Archie, Ashley. The list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zeb, Zoe, Zibble. Zibble? That must be a spelling mistake, surely. And here are all the places in Mississippi. Finally, Santa delivered the last present on his long Mississippi list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight. My sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check it, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa divided the carrots among all the reindeer. "Well done," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nav once more in the North Pole, and soon they were speeding over the DeSoto National Forest, above Yazoo City, and over the Mississippi Delta through the crisp, starry night. "Ho, ho, ho," laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, Mississippi." And off they went. Wasn't that a fun story about our state, Mississippi? And maybe your town was mentioned. But if it wasn't, that's okay, because we know that Santa goes to all the towns. This week, I have something I really want you to do, and it says it on my shirt. It says, "Dance like Frosty, shine like Rudolph, give like Santa, love like Jesus." And that's what I want you to do this week. I want you to dance and sing and give. Until we meet again, smile and be happy. God bless. Have a great week.